ballsy. This is how we describe Ryan Heath, lead data writer at Fantasypoints, writer of many extremely data-heavy articles, co-host of Dynasty Points. Let's get into it.
Because I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. Because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. Anywhere I want.
GM, gentlemen, forgot to put the glasses on, so I was fumbling there for a second. But Candyman, how's it going, brother? How was your weekend? How was your Monday? How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, my friend. Better every day. Glad to be here getting ballsy on a Monday night. Nice weekend, too. And best ball summer. We're almost there. It's almost the peak, right? It's August. The waters are warm. And we're getting some volume in. Glad we could get another show together. Thanks for being here tonight, gentlemen. Ryan, how we doing?
Yeah, Ryan, how are you feeling? How, we were just talking before the stream started. August is a busy season for people in the fantasy industry. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. And yeah, what I'm really wondering is how the hell do you guys do this every night? Like I was down with like the sunglasses idea. I was like, oh, that's kind of that'll be kind of fun. But I put these on and I can't see anything on the screen. So that's gonna be it for me on the sunglasses. I can't see anything. I can't read the chat. What's going on, guys? But yeah, I'm impressed. You guys must have are those things even like actually tinted at all? Like, damn.
Well, some have speculated whether Candyman actually has eyes or if the sunglasses are just, part of his body. So I can't speak for Candyman, but yeah.
Fireworks. It was a fireworks incident on 4th of July.
But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, these ones aren't so bad. Some of my other ones are hard to look at. And also my screen is, I don't have dark mode on. It's very bright. So I feel like that helps a little bit, But yeah, Anatomy of a League winner. One of the hit articles of the summer, I would say. You dropped it a couple weeks ago now. So yeah, I know Candyman and I both familiarized ourselves with it, and I'm a avid Dynasty Points watcher as well. But why don't you kind of go through kind of the thesis of that article and what you're trying to get across, and kind of how you can use it this year, kind of whether it's whatever, redraft, best ball, anything like that.
Yeah. So really kind of the conceit of the article is that every single year in fantasy football, there's only going to be a handful of players that are actually going to move the needle. And I define that through just playoff rate as measured by ESPN managed leagues, but it is kind of similar in best ball too, in that there's going to be a handful of players that are going to have a really big impact on your team's advance rate. And most other players are going to be somewhere around neutral. Like the small ADP wins are not really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. So the article is really just focusing on, okay, what are the historical patterns that we can recognize in terms of players that are going to give you that really high win rate? And how can we apply kind of everything that I found to this year's ADP? So yeah, I use that to lay out some targets. I do a bunch of like ADP analysis, like the best times to draft league winners at different places in your draft at each position where they most commonly get found. So yeah, it's super long read, super nerdy read, but yeah, anyone that that is interested in that can go check it out.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you're tuned in to best ball drafts, obviously now it's August, so maybe it's a little bit more of a normal crowd. But we've been drafting since January, whenever the big board dropped. So definitely a lot of sickos in here. Let's say hi to everyone in the chat. We got Billy in here. We got Lulsimo. We got Lutz. We got Nick Bach. win the flex. Yes, I am live from the volcano. And then we got Disbanded Brotherhood with his patented period there. And our one, the only emo cowboy in the chat here as well. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. And it made me feel good because there's a few guys where like I've been super in on them, whether it's Dynasty or Best Ball. So that kind of, anything that can confirm your priors, you always feel good about that. But yeah, it's interesting too, because I think it kind of reminds me a lot of kind of how I usually structure kind of like my dynasty teams, because a lot of times you have 2-3 flex spots where you kind of realize like I have 30% Jacoby Myers, where I'm just like, a lot of the times you can just fill a lot of those like flex spots with guys that are just, cheaper. They're going to give you pretty similar production to a guy that's way more expensive. So, and then you really just trying to, acquire through trades these kind of power law players that are going to win you your league, whether it's like a Jaden Daniels last year, whatever. Like I know this year, Devin Achan is one of the guys where it's just like sometimes the market doesn't necessarily catch up on those guys. They have priors on them or whatever, and you can kind of push your chips in on those guys. So really, really appreciated that article. Candyman, any questions for Ryan on the article? Any thoughts, takeaways?
Yeah, one of the big things that I think I knew intuitively going into this year, and especially like translating those insights towards our best ball leagues. And so, we came out of 2024. It was not a year for the zero RB bros. It was a running back heavy year. There's a lot of healthy running backs, a lot of true RB1s who had borderline elite, seasons. You think of guys like Barkley, Robinson, Jacobs, even Jonathan Taylor coming back towards the end of the season and putting up some numbers. Jahmyr Gibbs, of course. The list goes on, but these kind of workhorse guys, some of them like a Kyron, maybe playing all of their team snaps, or then you have guys like Derrick Henry who are just hyper efficient. And I think one of the things that the article kind of doubled down and like confirmed for me that I've already known going into this summer, this offseason, was just like the importance of getting those league winning running backs in the early rounds, and the true difference in kind of like the tiers and the VORP of like getting a running back in round 2 versus round 4 or 6, and then the guys you could hit on maybe late is like it's really like a stark contrast. Maybe in previous years, people, because of either Kyron's breakout season or the success in different years of like the zero running back approach, people have kind of like oversold that or overplayed into it. But I think what it comes down to is just trying to take advantage of like efficiencies and inefficiencies in the market, or like, ADP. And this year, to me, I've been hammering running backs in the first like 5 and 6 rounds, like trying to get 2 or 3 of those guys on most of my teams, versus last year where I'd be more tempted to anchor running back or do like a true zero running back approach. So I think when I was reading your article, I was like, it makes so much sense, because like if you're really focusing on a small pool of elite talent at running back, you might get lucky. You might have a guy come through in the back half of a draft who can hit your flex in a meaningful way in weeks that count for those money weeks. But truly, there's a small list, there's a small handful of running backs that are difference makers.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And I would somewhat echo your thoughts that I think the kind of how the ADP has shaken out this year has been to where I think it's actually fairly efficient between running backs and wide receivers. I've been on Underdog. I've been drafting mostly relatively balanced builds. Like I certainly want to have 2 running backs through the first 6 rounds. That my teams that I have liked the best have occasionally had 3. And yeah, that I agree that's kind of, if you told me that last year, I'd have been kind of surprised. Like, oh, really? That is how the market turned out. But it is very different this year than especially the past few years when I think zero RB was really mostly in vogue. And it's not like just because, a lot of running backs happen to stay healthy and score a lot of points last year. That is the case, but it's also the case that they are just better prices now. They're better priced compared to the comparable wide receivers. I still think in best ball that wide receiver, and it is objectively the case in best ball, that wide receivers, especially early wide receivers, are going to give you the highest chance of spike weeks in weeks 15 through 17. But yeah, the projectable workload of the running backs this year is pretty good.
No doubt. That's kind of, I've gone back and forth about, is it worth taking the first round running backs in the first round? Is it worth it? I've had a slight fade on most of them, preferring the wide receivers. And it comes down to like what you can do in round 2 and 3. In rounds 2 and 3, it is so easy to get a good running back that you can pair with that first round wide receiver. So maybe it's a CD Lamb over Bijan Robinson, but then you come back with like a Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, those types of guys, versus the contrast of like, I'm not loving the teams where I might even start off with Saquon, but then if T Higgins or Tyreek Hill is my first wide receiver, it just doesn't feel as good. And then in the third round, where I might want to take another running back or like the elite tight end, maybe McBride is falling a little bit in these best ball drafts. It's like, you're kind of putting yourself in a tough position. I've had some teams that I like more than others, where maybe I come back around in rounds like 4 and 5 and get some more receivers that are pretty decent in that range. But again, there's also running backs in kind of that part of the draft that are very interesting. And yeah, so I don't know. It's tough because I go back and forth, but I'm still really, really leaning into wide receivers in round 1, especially in the back half of round 1. There's no wrong answer, whether it's Neighbors or you're getting Nico Collins, Brian Thomas. It feels like any of those guys could be the key to winning it big when it counts, like week 17. So interested to know kind of how you're playing the first round specifically, if you've got a slight fade on any of the running backs or players in particular, if you're just kind of playing it at ADP more likely.
Yeah, so I'm kind of with you in that basically at any spot in round 2 or 3, there is a running back that I like. So I'm with you on, yes, I lean a little bit more towards the wide receivers in round 1, just because I think the depth at the position is better. Like, there are running backs I want to click after the 2-3 turn, and there are not wide receivers that I want to click really after T Higgins and sort of Devontae Adams go off the board. And so it's, yeah, for me, that's where I'm kind of starting in round 1 is I want to start this team so that I'm not forced to click Garrett Wilson or JSN or what, like just the start 100%. Of like that giant tier of wide receivers. I mean, and that doesn't mean that I'm fading round 1 running backs writ large. Like, I think Bijan Robinson is about as spotless of an overall RB1 by ADP that we've had in a while. So I want lots of Bijan. I'm afraid to fade Gibbs personally. Like,
no doubt
there's a real chance that he is once again just a 50% XFP in his backfield running back, but he could still like own you even if that's the case. And if he's at 70% with new OC John Morton, who like really easy way to make your mark on an offense and get that Ben Johnson sized chip off your shoulder is just, give a few more touches to the guy that averaged like 150 yards from scrimmage over the last month of the season. Like, that would make some sense. So yeah, I mean, really the early running backs that I don't have a ton of are Ashton Genty, and mostly because for a lot of the summer, he was like solidly a round 1 pick. He's falling into round 2 now, and I'm fine with him there. Kind of same with Derrick Henry, and I mean, really it's nothing against Genty or Henry. It really is just like I'm always clicking Devon Achane. Like, anywhere in that area, I'll reach for him. It doesn't matter. So that's kind of like the biggest anti-running back stance I have at all. I'm clicking Saquon. I'm not like super enthused by it, but I'm doing it because I feel dumb if I don't. Is mostly what it is. But yeah, it like in my heart, Saquon is like my RB4.
Makes sense. So you would bring, it sounds like you'd bring Achane above Saquon in your heart. Like that's your next player that you would bring up there, or is it someone else?
Yeah, no, I would bring Achane up there for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, Achane, CMC, and Saquon would all be pretty close for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we all know with McCaffrey, it's more of a risk tolerance thing to can he come back from the injury. I don't want to be out on McCaffrey. I find it hard to take him ahead of a Malik Neighbors. It's kind of where I'm stuck. But I agree with you. I think today in my rankings, I was moving Genty back up to ADP because I haven't clicked him. It feels like in a month. Like I can't remember the last time I clicked Genty, and it's tough because it feels like he is priced at his ceiling. And even if he hits, he still could not get you there, which is in a crazy way. And I was reflecting back on this, even with Jahmyr Gibbs, being a hammer down the line last season in those couple weeks where Montgomery was out and Gibbs was getting more of the touches and he was averaging a ton of points. But in the weeks 15, 16, and 17, just the opportunity cost of taking Gibbs in the first round meant you couldn't have had Chase. And then so it's like the combo of Chase with Jonathan Taylor was actually more powerful than having Gibbs without Chase. And while Gibbs still was like right up there with Taylor, or even outscored him in some weeks, it was like the difference of getting that running back in round 2 versus round 1 is what really mattered. And so I constantly think back to that, where it's like, even if Genty is the best running back, if you have to take him in round 1, he still might not pay off. Like, that's how crazy it is that these receivers can really smash and break this late. And of course, knowing that T. Higgins ended up being like the guy you also had to have, and he came later in the draft, but there's just those combinations that like you can either get a guy in the first round, in the second round, or the way you take certain players, like there really is a huge difference in what's available. So I don't know. I go back and forth thinking about, we spend so much time also like debating who could be these sleepers and these guys that break out in the late rounds. But reading back through your article kind of grounded me into like what really matters. Like these decisions up top is actually most of the heavy lifting for winning these tournaments. And, maybe there's 30 different guys you could fit in your flex or your kind of bench spot, or even your tight end 2 spot or your QB 2 spot. And did they really move the needle? Maybe they help you advance. Maybe they can like cover some of your weeks, but that's kind of more luck based. It really comes down to, did you draft the right guys in the right order in the first, couple rounds, which is interesting. It's an even harder problem to solve for than just being like, hey, I can hit on this sleeper in round 16 that everyone else is like not drafting yet.
All right, guys. Well, Ryan, I think, might have already taken, I knew he was the Achane guy, but he might have taken my ballsy take of the week already without knowing it. But yeah, why don't we get into it? And Ryan, you want to start us off after I roll this clip?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sir. We will, as our guest of honor, we will start off with you. What is your ballsy take of the week?
All right, it is not Devon Achane related, so we're all good on that one. So yeah, I searched my heart. I did some soul searching on this one, and I want to preempt the take by saying that this is nothing against Travis Hunter whatsoever. I've been a Travis Hunter evangelist. That this should not be taken as a negative for Travis Hunter. I think Brian Thomas Jr. could go for 2,000 receiving yards. I think he could break the single season receiving yardage record.
I like it.
Hold my nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that perfectly timed there. Yeah, I don't know. Do I have to explain the take, or do we just go around? How's this work?
I mean, yeah, you give us a little bit of, obviously I think we're all collectively pretty high on Brian Thomas, but yeah, like what is it? Just Liam Cohen? Is it just you think everything's coming together? I've been super high, and some of my ballsy takes of the week in the past have been Jaguars related, but just quick exposition. Yeah.
Okay, so if you just take out the 4 games that Brian Thomas Jr. was in debilitating pain for as a rookie, he averaged more yards per out run than any rookie wide receiver of the last like decade and a half, other than Jamar Chase and Odell Beckham. And you can do that with basically any other production stat. It's him, Jamar Chase, and Odell Beckham essentially. We obviously know that there's a big jump in year 2 kind of expected for these wide receivers. And the biggest thing to me is that the most bullish soundbite I have heard about any player for the entire offseason was Liam Cohen talking about Brian Thomas Jr. right after he got the job. Basically saying, yeah, like I love all the vertical stuff that he did at LSU. He's an incredible player. He can do all of that. You can line him up on the outside, but also I'm really excited to put him in the slot. I'm really excited for him to run slants. I'm really excited to throw screens to him, for him to run option routes. And hearing Liam Cohen say that, where he has had Cooper Kupp and Chris Godwin both average about 1 million fantasy points per game in these slot roles in his offenses. He literally made Wan'Dale Robinson into a thing back when Wan'Dale was in college. That Liam Cohen is the reason that we had to care about Wan'Dale Robinson when he was coming out as a rookie. The Cohen slot role is insane. And yeah, I think BTJ could be like 50% outside, 40% in the slot, and just completely smash, like get all of the Mike Evans deep stuff that he was so successful on at the end of last year, all the Chris Godwin stuff around the line of scrimmage. This take probably needs Travis Hunter to not like actually play that much offense, which is not like something I am really concerned about when I'm drafting Hunter, but it is like kind of an interesting thing to think about in the range of outcomes of Brian Thomas.
Yeah, no, I love that one. That's and it's, I think with Travis Hunter, especially for best ball, like as long as he's hitting down the stretch, like I think both of them can coexist, and you could still get a pretty crazy BTJ season and still have Hunter come on late and be that rookie hammer that you need. So yeah, I love that one. Very, very ballsy of you. And we will move on to the Candyman. What is your ballsy take of the week, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I love that take. That's a fun one. So it sounds like we got to be dropped in some more Trevor Lawrence to go with it. He's going to be, in a prime spot now with Hunter in year 2, Brian Thomas Jr. So that's exciting to think about, and the whole Cone connection too. Like how you brought it together there. My ballsy take of the week, it's related to a running back who kind of down the stretch, the second half of last year when he started really taking over the full snap share in his backfield. I think he was above 80% of the snaps from week 9 on through week 17 and averaging, pretty close to 85-90% of the snaps in his backfield. Dominant. That's the kind of high volume player profile that we've seen guys like Kyron Williams thrive in, even though maybe he might be, volume based and touchdown dependent. I think this player is a little bit more exciting, a little bit more explosive than Kyron, and is on an equally, I would say, high-powered offense, enticing kind of offense. This is none other than Chase Brown, who I think my ballsy take is that down the stretch for the second half of the fantasy season and in the weeks that matter, 15 to 17, Chase Brown will be RB1. He's going to be the
all that from the bags, it ain't no way you winning Heisman. Private jet to NYC, the motions getting giant. Final quarter, we up 9, the bleachers getting silent. Junior say how I pull up, hit him with that lightning. Bitch been trying to catch up, I'm a Charger like I'm Keenan Allen. Tried to catch the coach's eyes, but they ain't never peeped the talent. You would think I'm on the Bengals, all the stripes I earned, they show. Y'all be 4th and 20 punting, we be scoring first and goal. I hear stealing swag, I need to sue him like Ndamukong. Blowing down the rental, visor smoked out just like Tomlinson. They gon' have my name in Ken with all these accomplishments. You could have Lombardi as your coach, still couldn't stop the blitz. Down in Florida.
I love it.
Had to cut you off. I apologize.
Incredible. Perfectly timed. Is Chase Brown. I mean, Man, he already kind of did it last year at an even cheaper price tag, but he's taken a step forward. He's gotten the confidence of head coach Zach Taylor and offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher. They are just buzzing about Chase Brown. They've been talking about him for months in this offseason and this summer. They think, he's one of their great playmakers, one of the engines of the offense, a guy that they trust. They got to get the ball in his hands. And that's saying a lot when you have both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on your offense. And so they want to get Chase Brown the ball as many times as possible. I think they typically, you could say they're typically going to be in some shootouts, some situations where they have to score a high amount of points. Obviously, Joe Burrow can accomplish that. And so he'll be in on these passing downs. He's going to play an expanded role. He's going to continue to play a high amount of snaps. I'm interested in Taj Brooks. I don't really worry about Samaje Perine at this stage, but I still think that Chase Brown can hold down a huge snap share and be a guy that down the stretch is averaging 1, if not 1.5 touchdowns per game. That with the yardage, with the receptions, is going to really elevate him and allow him to average out, 20 plus points across the back half of the season, which is what it would take. And that's also kind of the whole thought around just more of the Bengals players being the guys you need. And that's going to continue. Like, what's really changed for them? It's mostly status quo. So one more Bengal to win Best Ball Mania, to win these tournaments for you. I think it's going to be Chase Brown on Ballsy Take.
Hell yeah. Love that one. I think it's crazy because I actually think Taj Brooks now is kind of becoming a very, very good click in the 18th round. He's still available a lot of the time there. But I think both things can be true. Like the contingent value on Taj Brooks, if he is the RB2, which it seems like he is pretty insane going in the 18th round, even as he moves up. And if Chase Brown stays healthy, then he can absolutely smash. So I love
it was
that
funny.
take.
I think I saw on Twitter today, there's been some Taj Brooks talk, and we're always talking about these late round rookie running backs. But even more so now with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, kind of rising up a little bit, and some other names. But I saw on Twitter, I forget who it was, someone reposted it, but they're talking about bringing up, who it was? It was actually Ray GQ, and he brought up the fact that Texas Tech head football coach, and I can't remember his name in the moment, but he was promoting Taj Brooks, and it might have been before the NFL. No, it was after the NFL draft. It was still after. So he'd already been drafted, I'm pretty sure. He was comparing him to Emmitt Smith, which was like, what a comp, right? You're not really leaving room for this guy to it's only down from there. You can't really comp better than that. But it was really funny, but just the hype on him. And I think, Taj Brooks, definitely talented. One of the things I think back to was through his last, let's say, 2 seasons at Texas Tech, he was averaging over 90 yards per game rushing. And I think in 18 out of his last 22 games, something around that. It's been a while since I looked at these stats, but he averaged over 100 rushing yards, and a lot of those weeks were over 120 rushing yards. So the guy can get it done. The guy can handle the rock, a high number of touches, and he's pretty good. When he got the opportunity, he's got the experience. I think he's a fun player, definitely some contingent value, but being on an offense like the Bengals, any opportunity, and we know that running back points can be opportunity driven, especially this kind of late picks. I think he's a really good pick, a solid pick in the last round or two.
Hell yeah. I'm with that as well. My ballsy take is T-Mac, Tedero McMillan, right now going off as wide receiver 21 on underdog.com. I think will finish as a top 8 wide receiver on the season, fueled by a super strong end of season push. I want to be betting on this Dave Canales offense. Bryce Young, finally seemed like he was putting it together there last 7-8 weeks of the season last year. And I think it's just a perfect marriage between the skill set of T-Mac and Bryce Young and Dave Canales' play calling. And I think he's going to come on so strong, command a ton of targets, 150, 160 targets. And he's a threat in the red zone as well. So I think he's going to score, 9, 10, 11 touchdowns, something like that. And, just really become kind of like that BTJ range, that 1-2 turn next year. I think we're going to be drafting him there next year after a super strong rookie season. So that is my ballsy take of the week. And you guys want to hop into a draft?
Let's do it. Yeah, I like that take. It's fun to, think about the potential for the Panthers offense taking another step forward for Bryce Young, the options they have at running back, the receiver room that they've been building, over the last couple of years, and how those players can continue to mature, whether it's Xavier Legette actually being a little bit more effective with some of the pressure taken off of him, T-Mac coming in and being an instant star. And then, Thielen, the guy is an ageless wonder. He still has gas in the tank. If he can come out and just be as efficient as he ever is, and kind of, even with maybe some limited volume, I think he's still like a red zone threat and, still a fun piece. So I don't know. I find myself still interested in a lot of the pieces for the Panthers offense, and the price tag on Bryce Young too is it's very easy to get him if you're in a crunch for a QB and then you want to backstack him the rest of the draft. That's one of my favorite break glass in case of emergency quarterback options.
Yeah, he's been going a little bit earlier. I notice people pulling him up a little bit. So it's a little bit scarier now. Quarterbacks going a little bit earlier because of the leg up propaganda and people taking unstacked quarterbacks and whatnot. But yeah, no, I
could even be. You could argue also with Stafford and the uncertainty of his condition and when he's going to be hitting the field. He some of the other quarterbacks who go in that similar range might be getting pulled up a little bit, just of a scarcity kind of reasoning. I think when Mixon had fallen down the board and Judkins started falling down the board, that's when we've seen Caleb Johnson rising, whether right or wrong, because it sounds like from most things what we're hearing out of Steelers camp is Caleb Johnson still has a kind of a long way to go in pass protection and kind of getting up to speed in the NFL level. So I don't know. Does that point to Jaylen Warren being a better value, or is it just a little bit of kind of the typical rookie situation where that they're just talking in that way and he still comes on strong throughout the season and can get it done on the ground? I don't know, but he's definitely risen. He's definitely risen up in light of those other two players falling down the board at the running back position.
Yeah, we're here coming up in a couple picks. Ryan, have you been pushed off of Puka and been taking anyone else above him kind of due to the Stafford news? I think we see this kind of every year, but has that changed your opinion, just flipping someone 1 or 2 picks?
Yeah, I mean, so initially Puka was like a top 3, top 4 pick for me, and now I'm just kind of back at ADP. So I still have a lot. I'm cool with going either here, but yeah, either Puka or Neighbors that I'm happy to click.
I like them both. What do you think?
Let's go Puka. Let's be a little ballsy. Let's bet on. I feel like this happens every year with Stafford, right? His back's been hurt since he was with the Lions. Draft like we're right. Stafford's healthy. Puka's absolutely smashing. We're all set.
Yeah. Stafford literally puts the team on his back, and this is what happens. He can't. He's having some back issues, but ceiling outcome for Puka is pretty insane, and so definitely a guy happy to get at the second half of the first round. And there's almost no wrong answer when you start with Puka in this range. It's just whoever falls back to us at 17, or we could even pull someone up from the 2-3 turn kind of pick. But I do feel like there's almost 17 or 18 first round picks this year, and so this is kind of a sweet spot in the back half of the first round to really take advantage of that. I've been thinking for a while now, my favorite spot to draft is definitely the last 3 or 4 picks, but even here with Puka at 8 is not a bad spot to be in. How have you been kind of playing out from here, Ryan, with your round 2 options?
Yeah, I mean, like Puka London is obviously the super easy and chalky thing to do, but I mean, it's good and it's chalk for a reason. Here, I would be clicking AJ Brown or Ladd most likely. I'm okay going into like the back half of round 3 with 2 wide receivers. I mean, usually you'll get like an Omarion Hampton or something there, or talk yourself into Breece Hall. Like there's pretty much always like a decent running back option kind of late in the third. So yeah, those wide receiver starts are pretty nice. And I love the Puka AJ Brown combo. These two were like on a per route basis, these were the 2 most efficient receivers in football last year. And like, yeah, I don't know. Neither of them, for whatever reason, go as high as they probably should. I think the Eagles are going to throw more. I think the Rams offense overall is going to be better this year. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like most likely, I think Stafford is probably just fine. The guy is like 38 years old or whatever he is. Like he doesn't want to be, he doesn't want to be in the first couple weeks of training camp. Just
fair,
yeah,
fair, very fair.
I'm
fair.
sure he's milking it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. Can eat my words a month from now, but I'm not like that concerned. Just more so like I don't want to have an insane. Puka was like the player I had the most insanely out there above market stance on.
Okay.
Until a week ago, so I just want to be not quite that. Now.
You can cool it a little bit. Just you know what I mean. It's that's how you play the market too, right? Like if you can always just hold off for a little bit, see if he falls, and you're good. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think AJ Brown, whenever he is in the second round, like I feel like he kind of ping pongs every other year. He'll be a first round pick and then he'll be a second round pick. Like any year he's in the second round, like he's just an absolute smash. So yeah, getting those 2 receivers to start feels very good.
No doubt. I've been jamming AJ Brown in the second round all summer. Only a little bit of trepidation now with the hammy that we're hearing, and he's having some, hamstring problems. I don't want to read too much into one injury versus the other. Everyone's kind of dinged up right now, but maybe that could convince you to take him a spot or 2 later. I think where we got him is still perfectly good. We're about to be back on the clock at pick 32. We've got JSN, Hampton, Breece, Rashi, Rice, Kyron, Mike Evans, and Kittle by ADP. So Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are gone. Ryan, who's your favorite click here?
It's easily Hampton. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's the correct answer. No doubt, right?
Yeah, I love that. Like the positive Najee Harris update we got today was like he was walking around the field. Is it? Did I read that one correctly?
Super bullish, yeah, super
on
bullish
the field and walking around and doing like light aerobic exercise. Yeah, that's I don't know.
Doesn't sound great. Great.
I saw one of the Twitter comments. They said, well, he had on 1 weight vest yesterday walking around the field. I was hopeful we'd see some progress and he'd have on 2 weight vests today, but it's crazy. When was the last time that like a Twitter rumor regarding a fantasy football injury, like a non-football injury actually came true? Like this is such a bizarre... I was
amazed. I was actually pissed the day of, because I was like, yeah, okay. Someone posted on Reddit that Najee Harris lost an eye. Yeah, sure, guys. Like that, I go ahead, move Hampton up your board. You should have had him up there anyway. But I was like so vocally like thinking it was BS, and I was almost immediately proven wrong. And I'm so salty and spiteful about that, because I really thought I was smarter than everyone that day.
That's funny. Well, we didn't land Achane. We didn't get T-Mac. Pickens is off the board. There goes Jaden Daniels. Who do you typically take when the options are like Kittle, Worthy, Moore, Cook, Hurts?
Yeah, just easily George Kittle.
There we
He's
go.
Kind of the only consideration for me here. Just
I
like
love this
relative to those receivers, everyone else is just so gross.
People forget that George Kittle was actually the top tight end last season. He didn't play every game, but on a per game basis, and he had some pretty nice weeks when it counted too. This start, some of my favorite plays in each round that we've got so far. So we're cooking right now. This is feeling good. And we're kind of lined up. I don't know if it's just because we're in the middle of the board, we can take advantage of like some of the falling value at ADP or what's going on. But this room, it seems like it's just kind of fallen right to us. Kind of the obvious picks each round so far. Through our first 4 picks, we have Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Omarion Hampton, George Kittle.
Easy money.
Easy money. I mean, the only thing we have to worry about maybe a little bit is our stacking partners at QB, considering Jalen Hurts is gone. Yes, Stafford goes a bit later. He's probably going to be our QB 2 or 3 kind of range. So, we have to think about maybe how we want to line up some of these next couple picks. But otherwise, I think we're in a really good spot. And kind of like we were talking about earlier, getting those players that matter. Omarion Hampton, it's, to me, I don't know when it really like fully came together in my head and like I formulated my opinion on him, but I moved him ahead of Brees and Kyron a couple weeks ago. But like I was interested in doing that for a while now, and anytime I can get him in the 4th round all summer, I've been clicking him as fast as I can. Ryan, I want to hear your thoughts on kind of Hampton and what you think is maybe his range of outcomes or his kind of the range we're drafting him now, and like the difference, and any thoughts on Hampton as a prospect for this year.
Yeah, I mean, right now with what we know today on whatever it is, August 4th, I think he should probably go at like the 2-3 turn. Realistically, I think he's very close with Chase Brown in terms of range of outcomes, which is if Najee Harris never existed, he never got signed by the Chargers, Hampton would be going at least in the middle of round 2, if not higher, just because this is likely to be a very, very good offense. Hampton, round 1 prospect, was a very active receiver in college, kind of carried the load as a bell cow. I just expect this to be probably a balanced offense, really efficient. Or let's talk about our pick here. I kind of want to take Travis Hunter and then get like a T-Law stack later on, something like that.
Let's do it.
Who are we taking?
Travis Hunter.
What up, energy nigga? It's Rio. Legendary shit, nigga. Catch a nigga slipping at the light, make his heart drop, cut the green beam on, make his car stop. 2-2-3s, hit his engine block and cut the car off. Jump on the nigga head off, yellow Zanny, score that bar hopping. My brain like a new car that can drive with no park options. Make a pussy niggas car reverse when the AR popping. My thing say you want a black dog, so I'm tar shopping. Finna pour 6 in thick red, you still par dropping. I gave you boys enough time.
I knew something was coming there. I didn't know exactly what to expect, but that was good. I like
Ryan. If you knew how many clips we have loaded up in StreamYard, it's quite overwhelming, honestly. So
I'm surprised you can find the clips that fast. I'm usually scrolling through. I can't find the player.
I was ready. I saw Travis Hunter there at the top of the queue, and I was scrolling through there. So
love it. Yeah, fun start. We're about to be back on the clock. I was hopeful that Harvey goes. Maybe Harvey would be there.
Ooh, this is a weird range. Addison, Jennings, both kind of have some weird stuff going on. Pearsall.
We do have Kittle. Should we go Pearsall? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, we can go Pearsall. Fine. I haven't clicked a single Ricky Pearsall this entire offseason, if I'm being honest. I've been on Team Jennings pretty much the entire summer. I don't know. I'm always going to be biased in favor of the players that have actually produced before and have put real numbers on the spreadsheet for me to analyze. If I'm going to be fully transparent there, I would argue that's for good reason. Usually those are the players that are actually going to continue to produce.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Pearsall, it's so hard to know what to make of him, how much of his rookie season you actually throw out, how much, if any, that you hold against him. The way I look at it is any other rookie that ran 275 routes, which is about what Pearsall ran, I would be judging them on their efficiency stats. I would be not really buying into he had 2 good games at the end of the year, one of them being with Josh Dobbs. So for me, it's kind of a shrug where it's this is probably the Jennings and Kittle offense, but I could be wrong. It could be this is the guy that Shanahan is now completely in love with. We know Shanahan. Shanahan is the one OC where I will just kind of shrug my shoulders and say, yeah, he might just decide to throw to whatever guy he feels like in any given season. We have seen him just say, you know what, we're not going to throw to Brandon Ayuk for half a season because I'm pissed off at him. So that could totally be the case. Pearsall could be his new lover. So I don't think it's like a horrendous stance or a horrendous pick, but I've been Team Juwan, as I've said.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That's the earliest I've taken Ricky Pearsall all summer, and I don't love it either. But it just comes down to the Niners are a nice offense to have a piece of. Maybe Jennings is dealing with the calf injury. Ricky Pearsall has the first-round draft capital. So I'm just all the things that the people have been telling me that I've been trying not to listen to. I'm more in kind of your camp where early on I was just playing it through Kittle, McCaffrey, and then very occasionally Jennings, but kind of like an avoid all of the 49ers receivers outright. Now I'm kind of coming around. It's like you got to draft someone on this team eventually. And it lined up nicely. Maybe we could have gone Montgomery there or DeAndre Swift and pulled up a running back. But I think still a fine pick. We've got plenty of time.
Montgomery and Swift would have been significantly worse picks than Pearsall to me. So I prefer that one for sure.
Good. That's good.
Coming back up, Reed is there. He's been falling a little bit. Egbuka, of course, an incredible pick. Otherwise, Pollard and then Shakir's been falling. Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, Hawkinson. Ryan, how do you like this spot? We got a 1-4-1 build.
I like Egbuka here.
Hell yeah.
I know we're going a little heavy on the wide receivers, which I just warned against right before the show, but I think we can make this.
We talked about not doing it, and then we did it. I said, hey, I wasn't going to be a 0 RB bro this year. Come on.
Yeah. Omarion Hampton in a dream. I think we can make it work.
Yeah, we got an anchor. We got a young anchor. That's okay. I think Egbuka, I think there was news today that the first time that it was kind of mentioned that Godwin might not be ready for week 1. So, I mean, we don't have anything confirmed yet. It's still just kind of hearsay, but if we get kind of the typical end of season, what Jalen McMillan gave us at the end of the season for Egbuka, and I think Egbuka is a way better prospect, plus some more, he gets off to a hotter start in that Bucs offense with kind of Godwin coming on slow. I think he's just a very good click here where we took him, and I feel very, very good about that. So happy to make that click there, and got some young, exciting receivers. Which yes, we were talking about running backs, but we're best ball bros at heart, so we got to do what's exciting.
We got a little bit buried there at running back. I think we can still make it up with volume, but Pollard, Mason, Brian Robinson all go. Aaron Jones is gone. Our next best running back by ADP would be Jalen Warren, and he also goes. Just as I say that, should we pivot here and take another receiver, or do we want to reach up and grab any of these running backs?
It's so gross.
It's rough. I mean, do we want to lock up a quarterback or something? Or I don't know. No, probably not. Okay.
Yeah, just take a receiver, and we're gonna be deep in this one.
That's okay. We already have 6 wide receivers, so we can.
I can't believe Jalen Warren went that high. Oh my god, he's always like my I screwed up the build and I can just click Jalen Warren and fix it type of player. But
that's
I'm more likely to get Jalen Warren at pick 104 than have to take him at 87.
Big leg up, shifting the landscape. How do you feel about Higgins, Ryan? I think he's kind of a polarizing guy in terms of they took him in the second, and then they took Knoll in the third, and some people like Knoll better as a prospect, college teammates. How do you feel about Higgins and his price right now?
Yeah, I think Knoll is probably better. Has kind of been my stance the whole time.
Really?
And it's this is like 50%, or honestly, I'll be more honest than that. This is probably like 75% me just trusting everything that Brett Whitefield says about wide receivers. His track record is insane over at Fantasypoints. He was like the original guy on Amon-Ra St. Brown. He just has so many insane hits that I just listen to Brett when it comes to wide receiver film scouting. And he has always been Team Knoll over Team Higgins. So yeah, that is part of it. I also like that, and this is like a really just like nerdy point that probably no one cares about because it's August and not like February when we talk about like the super nitty gritty prospect stuff. But Knoll was basically running a full-time route share from his freshman year, which especially compared to Higgins, but also compared to a lot of other receivers that you would just compare him to in the class, that just naturally is going to pull down a lot of his yardage or like per route stats, his yards per route run, yards per team pass attempt, what have you, just because freshmen are always less efficient than juniors and seniors. And even when you get the guys that are really good as sophomores and juniors, a lot of the time, like their career stats are inflated, look better because they didn't run that many routes as freshmen. And it with Knoll, he has all of these routes from when he was really young because he immediately got on the field. You have to give him credit for that, even if the production didn't come until really his sophomore year. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Jalen Knoll. I think he's we can pick here, but yeah, one of those guys that has been falling all summer for no reason.
Yeah.
Running back
Purdy
would have us
just went.
take Scadaboo, Charbonnet.
I think we go Scadabo. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. He's also injured. We're just drafting all the injured guys right now, but
He should be back soon, you know.
Yeah, he should be back. I mean, Scott Barrett has like a really big conviction take on Scadabo and says that he's just easily better than Tyrone Tracy, and it's true. Like all of his stats are insane. He's crazy by missed tackles force. Definitely has the receiving skill set. So yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised if he's the Giants' bell cow by the end of the season, but I wouldn't be that surprised the other way either. But yeah, I think it makes sense to bet on one of them here because you kind of need to get the Giants' backfield right on a build like this, or you kind of have to pick one and hope you get it right. For the Hampton and a prayer team to work out. So yeah, I kind of like
definitely.
it.
Yeah, we got sniped on Purdy. That was, we probably needed a running back anyway. So, but
it'll work out. I think we even could consider going running back here, either that or taking Justin Fields at a little ADP fall for him.
Sharp, Spears. What do you think?
I would like Spears here, honestly.
Let's do it.
Nice. Yeah,
we need it more than you can make up being behind at quarterback. It's a lot harder at running back. We really need to hammer and hope we hit on multiple ambiguous backfields here.
Totally. Yeah. We still have really good outs with, CJ Stroud. We've got Lawrence, Stafford later. We could even play through Herbert if he's there. And then Cam Ward, of course. So I think you're right. It is taking advantage of some of these early kind of split backfields in these rounds, guys like Scadaboo, Tajay Spears, probably a smart way to play it. And, we're in this QB pocket, so everyone else is going to be grabbing quarterbacks, maybe some tight ends. We can stay here at the running back spot and get some volume. I think it's definitely a team where, since we have our 6 wide receivers through our first 8 rounds, we probably chill with those 6. And then if something we really are interested in comes along, we can tack on a 7th. Otherwise, we might just be playing a volume game from running back and quarterback, and then maybe even tight end, but we do have the elite with Kittle. So we're not like in a pinch at tight end either. We're feeling pretty strong wide receiver and tight end. Just can we get lucky at QB, land some stacks, and then build out a nice running back room from here on out. A lot of rookies too.
This could literally be like a 3-7-6-2, which is not a build I ever draft.
I was just going to say that.
Might call for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Might not be bad. Might not be a bad way to play it. Through our first 10 picks with a 0-3-6-1 build with Hampton, Scadaboo, and Spears, Puka, AJ Brown, Hunter, Pearsall, Egbuka, Higgins, and Kittle. So we've got a lot of youth on this squad, some second-year players, and some rookies too.
All right.
Pick
I think
one
we
from
definitely need to take one of the 2 Jaguars backs as well here.
Yeah. Okay. And it looks like we're going to get at least one of the 2. So do you have a lean here between if they both make it to us, Tootin or Bigsby? Yeah, Bigsby's kind of steaming up here, but it looks like Tootin
I
goes.
just made the decision for us. I think Bigsby fits better on this build where we need more so like guaranteed points, especially early in the season. Tootin has been my guy. Tootin's my highest exposure still, I believe, on Underdog right now. He has always been like my conviction play here, just because like so much of the value of the Liam Cohen backfield is in all of those screens, in all these like design plays. That's exactly what you would draw up for, like the third fastest or the third most athletic running back to come out this century, behind only like Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Stewart or something like that is what we have over at Fantasy Points in our athleticism metrics. But it makes a ton of sense. I'd love Herbert here too.
Let's see if we can get lucky with a little Herbert fall. Otherwise, there's some options here. I think we are kind of the way we're playing the hero RB build we did around Hampton. It does kind of lend itself to being on the cutting edge news of what's going on with these training camps. We're able to pick apart these backfields a little bit easier. So I think we just grab Herbert here though and continue to get some running backs in the later rounds. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Love Herbert.
Cool. Like we took Tank Bigsby, who's essentially the 1A on his squad. He's the last Jaguars running back to get drafted in this room, which I don't know how much longer that will last. I ran a Twitter poll and a YouTube poll recently asking which Jaguars running back was the one to have. Some people commented add a 4th option for none of them, but the overall overwhelming answer as of the last 24 hours was actually Tank Bigsby, with a majority of the votes on Twitter and on the YouTube poll. So whereas I think people maybe a month ago or even a couple weeks ago might have been leaning Tootin, and he's one of my more exposed running backs as well, especially with Bindles on here influencing me every week. We've got a lot of Tootin, and we're excited about him too, but Bigsby.
Dude, you're trying to steal my thunder. It was an accident. It will never happen again. That's right, because this is my house. There's only one master blaster.
Some college football. Virginia Tech. The demon in the cut.
Did it again.
Sorry, we had to honor our one true king, Basal Tootin, even though we took Tank Bigsby. If we're all in on him. But yeah, it is interesting that Bigsby goes last here. I guess it's ADP. People are still so tied to ADP, right? It's hard.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for guys to move a lot.
We've got 4 months of ADP holding Bigsby back, versus kind of this more recent news, and people in drafts will still click players off of ADP. That's why you don't see Javonte Williams falling. People will just click him at 126 when, I haven't heard a good thing about Javonte Williams in weeks, and I don't know if I ever heard a good thing about him.
Maybe his rookie year, but
yeah. Blue goes off the board, a player we definitely would have wanted to target on a squad like this. We've got Dylan Sampson coming up, Rashad White, Algier, some contingent plays. We could take a quarterback. Ryan, what do you like here?
Show me the running backs again. I just want to see how safe, or our running backs. I just want to see how safe
yes,
we
sir.
are. That's the only thing.
Hampton, Scadaboo, Spears, Bigsby.
Yeah, let's go Sampson.
Nice.
I think we have enough that it justifies the swing as opposed to the 10 PPR points per game that we're going to get from Rashad White. But
yeah, we got a little bit of depth, but I get what you're saying. It's like, do we just take a home run swing with Sampson, or maybe a safer bet with White, even though his ceiling might be capped? But you could also argue he's got a really high contingent upside too and a standalone value. The Tristan Wirfs injury, that a little bit affected the way I was drafting maybe some of the Bucks, but I've got a lot of the Buccaneers running backs on my teams.
Yeah, no, I think Wirfs being out matters a lot. Like
he's so good. Yeah,
it's a huge deal. Oh God, what happened to quarterback? Damn,
There's a little bit of a quarterback run. Should we grab Geno or Anthony Richardson here?
Do we have anything to stack with Geno? We don't, right?
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. We can take Algier and then just do Richardson on the turn, maybe. If he makes it. Maybe he doesn't, but
yeah, I've been trying to keep note of over like the last 4 or 5 days. Richardson, I think you're lucky if you can get him to come back to the mid to late 170s, but it still happens. He's just starting to rise that much more with the news that he's healthy, he's competing, and Daniel Jones sucks. So
breaking news.
I don't know. AR also kind of sucks. Is the thing.
Like the worst of two evils, right? But at least one guy has his whole life ahead of him, hasn't played that many snaps, college or NFL. The other guy, Danny Dimes, it's like maybe we've just seen too much of him already. Who knows though? I honestly,
I mean, look, I'll defend Danny Dimes. Okay, so
perfect.
Over his last however many games it was where he was healthy in 2022 and 2023 before the ACL tear, he averaged over 17 fantasy points per game. He
not terrible.
Had the same amount of design rushes per game, or almost, as Anthony Richardson last year. He didn't scramble at all because the guy was coming off an ACL, but that probably comes back in year 2 after the ACL. So I kind of think that either Colt just scores very similarly for fantasy, which is like a 16 to 17 points per game, most likely, regardless of which one of them's in. Now, you're obviously going to get like your 10-point stinkers and your 20-point like nice games in between all that. And I would not really enjoy dealing with those two like in any managed league, but I do think even Danny Dimes, like he's falling just basically down to the final round again.
Yeah.
I still think he's a good pick there.
No, that's very fair. I think he definitely, like, who do we think starts more games? Like, obviously it's leaning now. We thought it was Danny Dimes for basically the whole like last couple months, right? And then now it's swinging back around because there's a little bit of camp hype. But would it be that surprising if Daniel Jones starts 10 games or something? Like, I don't think so. So
yeah, I mean, we have Jones projected for one more game than Richardson, I believe, is where we settled.
Okay.
At fantasy points. So, but I do think AR is the clear pick here.
Yeah, we need to do it here.
Let's do it.
This build.
It's an upside pick, and I'm surprised because usually Alec Pierce is still available, but he went much earlier. So it's not like we have to stack Anthony Richardson. Kind of the thesis on him is the rushing upside, so we can play it through that. I see Nick Bach grabbing JCM at pick 177, another player that's been kind of radically rising recently, as well as Woody Marks going 178. We're going to be up on the clock at pick 185 coming up next. We've got a 2-6-6-1 build with Herbert and Richardson, the running backs Hampton, Scadavoo, Spears, Bigsby, Sampson, and Algier. So we've got 6 guys there. No real bye week issues either. And then receivers, we still have those original 6 with Puka, Brown, Hunter, Pearsall, Egbuka, Higgins, and then George Kittle standing alone as our tight end. Pick 185, we could grab a tight end. We could, we've got Kittle on the week 14 bye. We could just try to grab another flex, position player.
Any interest in Darnold here, or are we just completely out on him as a third? We want to
Rogers. I think Darnold's gone.
Oh, okay. What do we?
Yeah, I'd go like Will Shipley probably. He's like the last kind of running back handcuff that I feel very good about.
Okay,
so that like kind of gets us up there, gives us some more contingent value.
Yeah, and a little team stack too. We do have AJ Brown on the squad, so doesn't hurt.
Bet against Saquon. Yeah, don't hate it.
But yeah, just add another tight end. I don't really care who the third QB is on this build. It's going to be gross kind of regardless. So
do we handcuff the Indy quarterback room and just guarantee a starter in week 17 there?
I don't know. I hate doing that in best ball. It feels like a waste of a roster spot to me. Like I really want it to be like I'm drafting the guys on this team and they're going to be the guys that are going to play and score the points.
No, I'm with you.
Like I always hate hedging in any tournament with over 600,000 entries. It just feels like a waste. But yeah, I don't know. It's like when the alternative is Tyler Shuck. Does it start to maybe change?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think I've done it a single time. I'm just thinking
unstacked Shuck
or Jackson Dart maybe. Like I don't know, Russ Wilson. Like, is there anyone here?
Let's think about it. Rodgers is there. We don't know who his wide receiver 2 is. That was one of the articles in The Athletic recently. It's like, who is Rodgers' wide receiver 2?
It's Jonnu Smith.
It probably, or it could be Pat Freiermuth, the way they're talking him up too, right? That's just a thought. Juwan Johnson will probably be there. Oh, Rodgers.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go. Let's go Giants QB plus Theo Johnson.
Hell yeah.
That'd be interesting. We do have the week 14 bye issue with Theo Johnson and Kittle, but
oh damn, okay.
Doesn't have to be the and we could still do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think bye weeks matter. That's maybe my hottest best ball take is I don't think it matters at all. I don't know. I actually don't know if anyone's ever done the research on that, but to me that seems like it wouldn't matter at tight end. Like you're giving up a whole of
5 points or something.
An expectation of 5 to 8 points or whatever.
Right.
In 1 week.
Tight ends don't matter, and also
content to advance. Yeah.
100%. If you're gonna get out of this pod, you could do it in second place. You could do it in first place, winning by 30 points and losing 6 or 8 points on a week 14 bye with your tight end. So I would agree that it's not a deal breaker for me. Do you prefer Wilson for the early season upside, or you want to go with Dart, even though he might be a redshirt and the QB3?
I think Wilson, just because I want the guy more likely to play more games. I would give that to Russ narrowly right now. Sure. Like normally I'd just say screw it and click Dart. But
do we grab Keenan Allen with Herbert?
We're running out of picks here, right?
Yeah, we have 1 pick left.
No, I think we go. Now we're locked into tight end for our last pick. So
I kind of think we need a second tight end. Or do we? Like we just said we didn't care about the bye.
Oh, single tight end team that's gonna do numbers on Twitter if we post this after. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much it really adds, but Juwan Johnson. I mean,
the argument for Theo Johnson is Kittle has a low ankle sprain in week 2. He misses 3 games. Theo Johnson, like, he actually does give us a lot of floor value there. Even if they still have the same bye week, it's like tight ends get injured all the time. We don't have to lose Kittle for the whole season, but if we lose him for a couple weeks, we just don't want to fall behind and score 0 for like 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I think Theo's the way. This team is fine at receiver. It does not need.
The receivers are nice.
Yeah.
Running back some volume. The quarterback room is pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
Very funny. Okay, yeah.
We also just some other thoughts. We could go Theo. Who else would be there? Gadsden would be there. Conklin's there.
Let's say Gadsden. That's way more fun.
Oh, I love it.
Just do it.
I think I got it.
Got it. Hell yeah.
Why not?
It's okay. If we're taking a 0, at least take the fun guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's still stacked. It's not the same buy. We beat all the rules there, and we took the fun guy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, an interesting finish to a start where we didn't really have everything fall our way, but I think we made do. And we still got some really nice players at the skill positions, and we're definitely going to be winning our flex with the wide receiver. We ended up with a 3-7-6-2 build. We have Justin Herbert stacked with Amarian Hampton and Gadsden. So we have the two rookies that we're going to bring back with Jaden Higgins. We've also got Anthony Richardson and Russell Wilson on their own. So, I mean, kind of a QB room that honestly, it could be worse. I think Justin Herbert is in a nice spot. Richardson, we'll see how many games he plays. Kind of the same thing for Russell Wilson. But I think we covered our bases there. Hampton, Scattaboo, Spears, Bigsby, Sampson, Algier, Shipley. Who knows in the next month how much higher Bigsby can go. Scattaboo, Sampson, kind of the same thing. We're one or two breaking news articles away from Sampson just being, a huge winner. And I would say for Scattaboo, it could. I don't know if we'll get that before the season starts, but it definitely could happen during the season that he just becomes the outright RB1 on his team. Puka, AJ Brown, Hunter, and Pearsall, plus Buka and Higgins. I mean, this wide receiver room will need to do a lot of the heavy lifting, but I think it can. We've got a lot of talented guys. We also have the natural kind of bring back week 17 with Hunter, with Richardson, and then week 16 with Pearsall. We also have Kittle on this squad. So we've built in some correlation for sure. And then a lot of young, talented players, some veterans to carry them there, some volume at running back. I think it's fun. I don't think I've built a team quite like this in Best Ball Mania yet, but we ended up getting there. And I think like the wide receivers can do a lot of the heavy lifting where people might be searching kind of now for answers in the late rounds at wide receiver. It seems obvious that if you can get a room like this, I mean, the amount of targets and the target share that these players can have on their respective teams could just be absurd.
How do you feel about this build, Ryan? I feel like it's
I kind of hate it.
I was
it's
gonna
terrible.
say
couldn't sell you on it.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. It's pretty bad. But it's a little hard to keep track of where the build's at when you're on stream. All my worst teams are on stream. So
I feel like we just kept getting sniped on running backs. Like the running backs were just going so much above, and it's kind of a running back avalanche where we just kind of got pushed into this weird build. The quarterbacks go above where they usually go, and then we end up with this weird team. So it happens. It happens.
Yeah, we 100% should have taken Tony Pollard at that turn instead of getting greedy on Ibuka, most likely. Or on Ibuka. We got screwed on running back the round earlier, but yeah, that would, if I were to pinpoint one decision, it would probably be we should have clicked Pollard.
Yeah, it's hard to adjust, as we move into August, the rooms are changing, and then obviously each room is its own little special flower, and this it's hard to pivot there at a moment's notice. So definitely would like that one back, but I think it's structurally still like sound. So, maybe we can just get lucky with some of these rookie and young receivers, and they can just kind of supercharge this team. But not my favorite one for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fun when you start with so many wide receivers, then to just at least be able to adapt and say, well, we really need to take volume at running back and then figure out like QB. Maybe we could have gotten a little bit luckier at QB and it would just feel that much better. But yeah, you're definitely right, Ryan. There were some running back spots there where we probably got a little bit greedy on the wide receivers or has had some bad luck with the kind of fallout of who was available with our very next pick. I still think we're a Tank Bigsby or a Dylan Sampson away with some news from not feeling so bad about it.
That's the worst team. That's the worst team though, when you have to say, yeah, we're a Tank Bigsby or a Dylan Sampson away. Like that just means it's a terrible team. But it's cool. We had fun. We learned some lessons. It was a good experience.
Yeah, next time we'll take Tony Pollard and we'll eat our Tony Pollard vegetables and we'll feel better about it. Ryan, thanks so much for hopping on, man. What do you have going on the rest of this week and going into August? I see you doing some best ball streams over on the Fantasypoints channel. But yeah, I'm sure you have a lot going on, so let us know.
Yeah, that's right. Every Thursday afternoon, 2 Eastern time, I'm live with Graham Barfield for Best Ball Breakdown. At Fantasy Points on the site, we have Scott Barrett's draft guide dropping this Wednesday. So definitely check that out for all your redraft stuff. I have a very long article diving into every new play caller and all their tendencies for 2025. Every new play caller and also everything I thought was interesting for any returning play caller for any of their fantasy notes. So that's a big one that'll be dropping this Friday. So you can go check out both of those at fantasypoints.com.
Nice. Yeah, link is down below for all of Ryan's stuff at Fantasy Points on Twitter, YouTube, all of that. Yeah, Ryan, just want to say before we get out of here, really appreciate your work, man. I think all the data and all the research you do is top notch, and really appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. It was a good time.
Candyman, what's going on with you, brother? I know it's August, like I said, ramping up. What's your schedule look like for the rest of the week?
Drafting best ball teams. We'll see pretty much every night, but also not every single night. But when I can, I think the rest of this week, it's pretty much just going to be getting in some volume where I can and some impromptu things. There's some streams coming together, but kind of the same thing. Getting these drafts in. We've only got a few more weeks. It's crunch time, and yeah, man, just enjoying it and stay on top of the news. It's one of the most fun times of year. It's kind of peak draft season, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I forgot how crazy this time of year gets, and excited to see the next coming weeks and kind of all the injury stuff, all the camp stuff come together. It should be an exciting time. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. Last thing I'll say for me is link below for my Discord. Jump in there. We have 85 members right now. So let's, trying to get up to 100 before the start of the season. A lot of ball knowers in there. Candyman's in there, and going to start doing some redraft content. So be sure to check that out. You can find that in there. And then I'll be updating my dynasty rankings pretty much every day as stuff is happening in August. So be sure to check that out. Link below, and hope you guys have a great night.